Hello, sorry about the interruption. I realized it's getting kind of dark in my room, so I turned on the light and I also have transitions, like my glasses are always kind of dark, so sorry about that. Um, I also am not sure if everyone wants to sit and listen to me talk for hours, so I'm gonna break this video up into two sections. I just finished the first section and it's about 20 minutes, so I'll try to keep this one at about 20 minutes. And the basic principles that we're talking about are ascension, meditation, highly sensitive and empathic people, healing techniques, and the journey of the spiritual people who are going to be drawn to this channel. So, like I said, I'm making these videos because I feel called to do so. In my heart, I really have continually felt that I just need to take the time and record videos and put them on my YouTube channel and talk about things like healing. So I'm going to go back to where I was in talking about learning Vipassana and the impact that it has had on my life. So I learned Vipassana about 3 months ago. And it, like I said, it's 10 days. Everyone has to attend 10 days first. But they also offer longer meditation retreats if you find this technique is really great for you. And what they're offering is a completely sequestered environment where if you honor yourself and commit yourself to the technique, it really works. Not speaking to others is not about restricting yourself. It's about giving yourself the space that you need to fully go through the process of learning the technique and feeling the technique and understanding how the technique is changing you. So it's a big commitment. It's difficult for most people to just leave everything and everyone that they know, especially nowadays, technology. You don't get to keep any technology. There's no access to technology. There's no access to paper and pencils or anything like that. It's just meditation. Pretty much the schedule is like 10 hours a day of meditation, eating, sleeping. That's it. And it's rigorous. It was extremely difficult for me, and I tend to get up early and go to bed early, and the schedule was strenuous. However, I found that the benefits far outweighed and justified greatly the challenges that I went through. And that's the other thing. When you go through meditation, it becomes difficult, no matter what kind of meditation you're going through. And that's because you're closing yourself off from everything that's going on. You're having a conversation on the inside. And a lot of times, I mean, every time I do, when you close yourself off to everything outside and just open up to your heart, open up to your soul, open up to the inner knowing, the collective conscious, as I like to call it, you're tapping into something deeper. And a lot of times, that something deeper is going to consist of a mountain of unresolved issues. So if you haven't gone through any techniques ever in the past where you dealt with resentment and sadness and anger and being hurt or hurting others, then you're going to find it's difficult to sit down and be quiet. Now, the biggest thing I always hear from people is, I sit down and I try to meditate, but my brain won't stop. Well, your brain's never going to stop. Your brain is responsible for so many things. But your brain is trying to help you, usually. And the ego definitely steps in and will sabotage you. But your brain is processing things, sending you messages, letting you know what you need to do, reminding you about things. It's this excellent supercomputer that's always working. The difference is you can say to your thoughts, like, we're not doing that right now. And I think the problem is everyone expects some sort of instantaneous outcome. So I'm going to sit here, I'm going to close my eyes, and I'm just going to have zero thoughts in my head, and I'll be meditating. So, I mean, I really think that that is most people's expectation of what meditation is supposed to be. And I just want to inform you that it's never been my experience to sit down and just have complete silence inside of myself. And I don't know what other people's experience are, but I do know that you need to work with yourself in a calm, loving, understanding way to deal with those thoughts that are coming up. Because the deeper you go inside, it's not just going to be like, oh, I need to go to the grocery store, or I think I forgot to buy cat food, or did my friend call me yesterday? I mean, it's not always going to be that sort of thing. It might end up being something deeper. Like, wow, I had a lot of issues growing up with my grandmother. Or I wonder if what I said last night at dinner hurt my brother's feelings. Things like that can come up. And the reason they're coming up is because you need to deal with them. And working through things during meditation is excellent. But also being able to say, okay, I understand that's an important message. Thank you so much. I'm putting it aside so that later, when you're not meditating, you can go pick that up and work on it, work with it. It's an excellent tool for you. So things that are popping up like, what color shirt should I wear? That's not important. You can just like throw that off, because that's going to be important when you're doing it. It's not something you need to dedicate a whole lot of time to, especially not if you're really trying to meditate. So that's one of the things that I generally tell people is, be patient. Letting the thoughts go out of your head is going to work one way or another for every single person. One of the suggestions I usually share, which was one of the first ones I tried, was to imagine the thoughts that come into your brain as bubbles, and acknowledge the bubble when it gets there, but also let it float to the top of your head and pop. Let it go. You may have some different method that works for you. At this point, I will usually just give it a little bit of love and put it aside. Thank you. Okay, later. But also, if it becomes extremely difficult, there are some breathing techniques that you can use to really center and focus your mind. So you may want to look into breathing techniques. Breathing techniques are really great, not only for centering your mind, but also for calming yourself down, dealing with anxiety. Meditation and breathing techniques are good friends, just like meditation and yoga are. So I always recommend, if you're going to take on one practice, you may want to look into related practices as well. Not only do I do the 2 hours of meditation and whatever amount of healing or other types of meditation, I also do yoga every day. So these are commitments I've made to myself. You're going to make whatever commitments you make to yourself. And that's the other thing. There's no meditation police out there that are going to come after you and be like, I don't think you meditated yesterday. So it's about you. Is it okay with you if you don't meditate? Maybe it is. Do you need to meditate? Maybe you don't. Some individuals that I've followed or listened to have mentioned that they do sleep meditation. And there are a number of meditations. I myself have learned probably 20 different meditation techniques. So keep in mind that you may need to try different meditation techniques. I started out learning meditation from Deepak Chopra. Google him. He's written probably 70 books now. He has an institute. He does free meditations with Oprah that are, online. She talks about it. She does it. It's really great to just look into something, try it out. If it resonates with you, try it longer. Give yourself some time. The free meditations that Deepak does are like 2 weeks. Start with that. Don't just jump in, because usually if you go from 0 to 100 and say, oh, okay, I'm going to change my entire life in one day, it becomes so heavy that you collapse under your own pressure and you fall back into your old habits. But if you give yourself that love and the compassion and the time to adopt the technique, try the technique, maybe talk to some people about it, do it with other people, go on a forum, find a group. There are definitely different experiences for every single person. And you're either going to keep trying or you're not. And you are the one that holds yourself accountable. So you either do it or you don't. And if you do it and you benefit from it, great. If you do it and you don't benefit from it, maybe change what you're doing. But don't be so self-critical. I really recommend that you take a big break from just self-criticism is the counter of self-love. Don't spend so much time criticizing. Oh, geez, I only sat down for 5 minutes. No, you sat down for 5 minutes. That was great. You tried. You did 5 minutes. Maybe the next time you can do 10. Maybe you do 5 minutes for 2 weeks, 2 months. Every single person is going to move at a different rate. Please give yourself some love. Give yourself some space, some time and forgiveness. Everything is not going to work out the first time. It may, and if it does, I'm really happy for you. It's taken me a long time to get where I am, and that's one of the reasons I want to share the messages I'm sharing with you today. The criticism just comes in, destroys things, usually discourages you from even trying. And I often have these conversations with people about diets, because I'm vegetarian, I often eat vegan, I'm not 100% vegan, and that's another thing. You have to be forgiving with yourself. I ate vegetarian 3 days this week. Start somewhere, but don't go from being a meat eater to trying to eat raw vegan. It's not going to work. And feeling that sense of miserable failure is not going to encourage you to try 3 days next week. So that is my advice in any new technique. Give yourself some time. Give yourself some space. Anyway, the Vipassana meditation for the 10 days can be really difficult, not only because you need to put aside 10 days where you don't have any obligations in the everyday life, but also because you're really in a place where you're by yourself. And it's incredibly interesting to me how many people do not want to be by themselves. They don't want to be alone. They don't want to deal with quiet. They don't want the type of experience that you're going to end up with. And as I was getting ready to go, they have a lot of communications, and they strongly encourage you to make it through the entire 10 days. Because if you give up and leave, then you have to start over. But not only that, but it's also a distraction to other people. So look into it, read about it. Like I said, this is a very big commitment, Vipassana meditation. And you may choose to learn it another way. Dhamma.org is not the only method for learning it. I've come into contact with a lot of different methods. Each one seems really great. I have practiced a lot of different methods of meditation. Each one is really great. They all have benefits. So do your research, take your time, give different things a try. Maybe try something with a friend. There's usually groups in the area. By the way, another way to describe the meditation is mindful meditation. Vipassana is the term that's used for the Buddhist meditation, but many communities here in America just call it intentional meditation. So anyway, I really love it. The benefits that I have received are greatly increasing my vibration, working towards ascension. If you want to look into ascension, there's a definition of 7 levels that you go through in order to reach it. And I caution any of you out there that each level is more difficult than the previous. And that's because you're making a conscious effort to stop listening to your ego and to stop participating in the restriction of society that believes that you and I are separate entities. And not everyone can get there easily. In fact, I don't know that anyone can get there easily, but it's moving through each stage is more difficult. And you're going to find yourself wanting to spend more time by yourself because people around you aren't going to get it. And if you're not able to be comfortable with the fact that other people don't understand you, don't get you, think you're weird, it's probably going to be even more difficult for you. And that's where these longer term meditation retreats can come in handy. They give you an opportunity to live as a monk for a longer period of a time where you're not subjected to the restrictions of society, which can be absolutely detrimental to the process of shedding an identity of I or me from everything that we've learned. We're separate. But in the actuality of things, as we move up the process of ascension towards full ascension, we feel ourselves more as the collective, connected to the collective, connected to those around us. And that can be extremely difficult and painful because you're feeling things from other people. And I've always dealt with that. I have a very difficult time being around large groups of people, ever, in general. I lived in a large city for almost 10 years, and I don't know why or how I did it, because I was miserable, always picking up other people's energy. I was constantly anxious. I was mostly depressed. I had a very difficult time, even in attempting to stick to these spiritual routines that I had created for myself. Going out into the world was exhausting. And a lot of that is because what we encounter in the everyday world is judgment. It's anger. Everyone is just going and going and going. And the more dense the population is, the more likely that you're going to run into people who aren't sympathetic or understanding or caring. And people like you and I, those of you out there who are really resonating, we are embodying the vibration of love, which is a really big job, and it's necessary not only to heal ourselves, but to heal our planet. And that vibration is higher than the vibrations of anger and hate and jealousy, sadness, despair. Yet we're going to come into contact with those lower vibrations all of the time. And it takes a particular amount of energy to keep ourselves protected. And we must be conscious of protecting ourselves as we go through these processes. So if you're just getting started, take your time, do your research, and find your tribe. I myself have a very, very, very small group of individuals that I trust and talk to and spend time with. I have attained almost no new individuals in my life that I have found trustworthy, that can return to me the love that I give to them, that want to see me do well. And the better you do at staying in a place of love and not reacting to those lower vibrations, the more pushback you're going to encounter. Nothing bothers someone who's bothered more than someone who's not bothered. So just keep that in mind. It's a big commitment to yourself to really stand strong in what you're doing, what you are being, what you're learning, what you're practicing, and just separate yourself from the lower vibrations. There's so many graphics. I'll have to get some together and share them. I have them on my website that really explain how energy works, how vibrations work within the human body. We all have a vibration. Our heart emits electromagnetic waves, and you can feel the electromagnetic waves of another human being 10 feet away. That's their vibration. And if that person holds love in their heart for themselves and for everyone else, that's an excellent vibration. It feels good, and you know those people. If you feel tingles or goosebumps, some people call them, the feeling that you get when something truly wonderful happens, you can feel that from someone else. Someone can give you that feeling. Just in the same way, that horrible, hard, sinking feeling that you can get in your heart, it's usually associated with fear. That feeling can come from someone else. It doesn't necessarily have to be your reaction to something. It can be someone else's feeling. And really learning how to differentiate your feelings from other people's feelings, that's important. And protecting yourself and recharging yourself. If you are going to go out, spend time around other people, give yourself enough hydration. Give yourself enough breaks. Don't overcommit yourself. If you decide to go out to some sort of festival and you're going to be in areas where and I did this to myself for years, and I just depleted myself to the point where I couldn't even protect myself anymore. And you don't want to find yourself in a place where you can't protect yourself. And when you have that higher vibration, people will be drawn to you. They will want to take from you. They'll want whatever you can give them. If it's love, they'll take that. If it's affirmation, they'll take that. Compliments, money, anything that someone can take from you, they will. So keep that in mind. You are responsible for protecting that higher vibration, and it takes practice. And people out there who are resonating with what I'm saying, that feel themselves to be similar, maybe you're a starseed. The hard thing in this life that no one will teach you in a mainstream manner through school or in most family systems is that you must protect yourself from those people. unless someone comes to you offering you love and asking nothing in return, they're usually gonna want something. And there are a lot of red flags, but the number one thing that I can say with absolute confidence is follow your intuition. Your intuition is the little voice inside of you that tells you immediately, don't do that. This is not a good idea. You are not safe. You will feel it. And the two places, everyone is different, but I can only tell you what I experience. In my heart and in my stomach, I experience the strongest feelings when I don't listen to what I hear in my head. And those are not good feelings. The sinking feeling I was talking about in my heart, same sort of feeling, maybe even kind of butterflies or pressure in my stomach. Those are indications. Get out of there. You know, your body can pick up signals. So if you listen to them when you get those signals, you can save yourself a lot of grief, a lot of pain, a lot of hurt. And through experience, you will come to understand, if you do not already, what and how your intuition works, or what it is, how it works. It's basically a survival system that exists inside of you that knows this person does not have good intentions. This person is looking to get something. Maybe it's not even a person. Maybe it's just a situation. You know, this is not the job for you. This is not the place that you should go. I mean, everyone has a different thing going on, different decisions to make. And every time I've made a decision that was not the decision for me, I have paid dearly. And healing myself from being hurt continually, taken from continually, is continuing. I don't know how long it'll take, but I'm committed to healing myself, and I'm committed to sharing what I've learned about healing myself, what I've learned about using intuition and using my spiritual team to help myself. So if you're here for that reason, then I thank you for that. And I will definitely take some time to make more videos more often, especially if I'm getting positive feedback. So all of you out there, please love yourself, take care of yourself, and I hope to see you soon.